Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the eTravel Weekly show from Virtual Miss Friday. I'm Michelle Dale and this is a show dedicated to digital nomads and intrepid online service providers from around the globe. In this week's episode, we're going to be looking at my latest blog post, one game-changing question to ask your virtual assistant, plus my top 3 eTravel Weekly discoveries, how to get more subscribers to MoKDork, one piece of financial advice from my younger self, and the psychology of belief from Derek Halpern. So let's get started with the show. So on the blog this week, I wrote a blog post called One Game-Changing Question to Ask Your Virtual Assistant. And this post was actually prompted by, I would say over the last month, about 3 people contacting me for consultations saying that their virtual assistant was no longer going to be a virtual assistant anymore and that they needed support and that they've had also as well numerous virtual assistants who have also been through the same pattern with them and kind of left. Now, usually alarm bells would ring about the type of client that they might be if they've had so many virtual assistants leave. But in these cases of the people that I've spoke to, it's not been the problem of the clients. It's actually been, the virtual assistant has not just decided to leave of their own accord and carry on with other clients. They've actually left because they're going on to do other things. They're not going to be a virtual assistant anymore. They've gone back to employment. They've taken jobs. And in each discussion that I had with these people where their virtual assistant had left, they were just like, I can't understand why they would do that. They had great working conditions. I thought we got along well. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden they decided to go. And this is a really important question that I think that people should ask more on interviews when they're interviewing virtual assistants. Not many people ask me this question. And to be honest with you, I didn't really start asking it myself until recently. But the question is, why did you become a virtual assistant? Or if the circumstances were different, what drove you in the career direction that you're going in? Why did you choose the virtual assistant industry? And most of the time you might get some sort of businessy type response from them, which they feel is more professional than just saying they did it for personal reasons. But in my opinion, if somebody has a truly personal reason for becoming a virtual assistant and working online, then they're more likely to stay with you over the long term and not decide to go down a different career path. Now, for example, myself, I had plenty of jobs in the past before I became a virtual assistant. Certainly for the last 10 years, I've been a VA, and it's been my longest career ever, owning my own business. Now, before that, I did various different jobs, and whenever I took a new job, it would generally always be something completely different in a completely different career or a different subject or whatever. One time I was working in hotels and I was working in hospitals, then in the bank, and basically everyone said to me, why are you moving from what you're doing? Why are you taking such a dramatic change? And the fact is, it's because I wasn't fulfilled in what I was doing, and it wasn't just job satisfaction, it was life. For example, I didn't like shift work, or I didn't like getting up early in the morning, or I didn't, there was a whole variety of things. And this was obviously, a long time ago because I started my business when I was 23. So this was sort of between the ages of 16 and 23. But as soon as I had found the perfect career choice, which was in the end starting my own internet business, as soon as I found that, I never had any desire or inclination to do anything else because it provided me with everything that I needed to live my most perfect life. It nurtured my perfect life. It nourished my perfect life. This was before I had kids even. I was completely single. I was interested in travel, living abroad, etc. And then, as the years went by, I had my children, I met my husband, I'm able to be at home with my family now. And it just, being a virtual assistant feeds what I need out of life. It really, really does. And I think that is one of the most important things about when you're working in any kind of job or any kind of position. If somebody asks you, why do you do it? Be honest about it. Do you do it just because it seems like a logical solution? And if it does, then maybe you need to rethink about what you want to do in life if you do it because it's just logical. I have a lot of people come and ask me about what types of services they should offer in their business and things like that. And they never think about what would excite them or what's best for them or what they feel that they would really like to do. But what they try and get into is what they think they should logically be doing based on demand and things like that, which again is another, it's a completely different subject altogether going down that road. But it's a very similar thing in terms of doing something that fulfills your needs both personally and professionally. And most of the virtual assistants that have left these clients that I've been speaking to have not been fulfilled professionally. So I hope you enjoy the blog post this week on the blog. It's over on virtualmissfriday.com. And I'm always open and willing to listen to your comments and experiences in the comment section below. Okay, moving on to this week's e-travel discoveries. My e-travel discoveries are what I found most valuable through my online travels throughout the week. And this week, I was reading on OK Dork with Noah Kagan. He's a funny guy, actually. But I was reading about how he managed to get more subscribers. Now, more subscribers are good for any service provider, any product provider, any type of business online. The subscriber base is so important. Not just email subscribers, but social media subscribers as well. But he particularly did an experiment to send out a request for people to sign up to his newsletter. Now, on average, he was saying that he was getting around 15 subscribers per day to his newsletter. And then when he sent this request out saying, I send out a weekly newsletter that will blow your mind, you should sign up here, his subscribers increased from 15 to 50. Now, that tells you a lot. It tells you, as a quick tip, which I'm going to share with you now, that you should be asking through social media for people to sign up for your newsletter. This is something that is so overlooked because we think that if we just publish our blog and people go to our blog post and they see a subscribe box, that they're all going to automatically do it and subscribe. But I think sometimes we need to make it a little bit more obvious. So take a leaf out of this guy's book, Noah Kagan. I would suggest that at least once a week you post on Twitter or on Facebook or send a message around to your LinkedIn connections asking people to subscribe to your newsletter, and look at the spike in his subscriptions when he actually did this, and it's quite incredible. Okay, it's obviously going to be in terms of ratio to how many people you have following you on social media, but if you follow any of my advice throughout my programs, you'll know that social media is a big thing in terms of my marketing. So if you're doing my marketing through the programs, then you should be having a steady increase in your subscriber base. So make sure that you always ask those people to subscribe to your newsletter, because it's the subscribers and that personal interaction that's going to get people coming back to you. And if they need anything, they're going to think to themselves, oh, I'm subscribed to so-and-so, or they might get a newsletter from you, which might trigger the idea of contacting you for some help that they need or something like that. So getting people on your subscriber list is really important. So he's got some key takeaways on the blog post. And don't forget that you can see this blog post through if you sign up to create an account on my site through the free members area. So I'll put all the links there for you. But basically he suggests to auto schedule subscription requests. So top tip for you this week is to actually start regularly asking people to subscribe to your mailing list. Okay, also this week I want to go give a little plug for Yo Pro Wealth, which is a website which featured me this week inside one of their blog posts. It was actually a quote that was requested from me. And I'm going to scroll down here, and it's on a post called One Piece of Financial Advice for My Younger Self. Now, although I want to obviously give my own little piece of advice a plug there, so you can go and have a look at that, it was actually the piece of advice that came above mine, which I took away as the most valuable piece of advice from this particular post. And we've talked about beliefs so much, and throughout this episode, we're going to talk about this particular thing now. We're going to talk about psychology of belief, which is the next post coming up, and also I've written a post about belief, which I'm going to publish next week. But basically, Chip Bell, who is a keynote speaker, consultant, and author, gave this piece of advice that he wished he'd known, or the piece of advice that he would give his younger self. And this advice is that it is not about what I knew, it is about what I believed. I can't tell you how valuable that piece of advice is. So many times in life, we think that success is related specifically to knowledge or to specific qualifications or to specific skills. But in fact, what it is related to is about what we believe our potential is within ourselves. He goes on to say that I wish I had believed that if I focused on doing what I loved, the money is more likely to follow. And I wish I had been convinced that money is not the root of all evil. There is nothing inherently evil about money or its pursuits. Evil lurks in how you view it, use it, and abuse it. Live life generously and you will sleep at night regardless of your net worth. Okay, I can't tell you how important that piece of advice is. Coming from a banking background myself, and always, being involved with money, and always growing up to believe that I had to work really hard for money, that if I wanted to earn any kind of money, it would be difficult. It didn't serve me to have those beliefs about money, and it obviously didn't serve him either, and he kind of saw the light eventually, and really so did I. So the biggest takeaway I can give you from this post is it's not what you know, it's about what you believe you are capable of doing, and believe me, you are capable of doing anything. And finally, the last post from my e-travels this week is on social triggers, Derek Halpern. Totally love this guy. I think he's fantastic, and I'm really interested in his psychology. And when I saw this post on beliefs, it really captured my attention. Now, basically, this is more like not about beliefs about what you're capable of, which we kind of spoke about in the previous section, but it's more about the beliefs of how to sell your products and services to other people. And I think this is really important online because we don't have direct personal interaction with people. We might not go to networking groups and things like that, and we might not actually see people in front of us. We're trying to do this all from a computer. And the advice that he gives in this post, which is super massive, by the way, and he usually does videos, and this time he decided to write a post. I think it's over 2,000 words. But it's a massive post, and it's got some great information in it and studies that they did with midwives and maternity wards and things like that, which is not relevant to service businesses, I know, but you will read it and you will take some stuff away from this, I promise you. Basically, the biggest point that I want to take and sort of talk to you about from this post is that you have to win people's hearts before you can win their minds. Now, I don't know whether you've ever been talking to people until you're blue in the face, trying to convince people that everything is a logical solution. But if they don't believe it is, then you won't get very far, no matter how much evidence you have to support it. So he goes on to say that that's why when you're selling anything, a product, an idea, or a service, you must first focus on getting people to feel the way that you feel first, and then you can show them the data to back it up. This is easier said than done. But he does it very well. He explains it very well about the different things that you could possibly do. But when you get that kind of excitement about your own services, about what your capabilities are, what you're able to do for people, it's really important, first of all, that you don't go into the statistics of how everything's going to work out, and that you first win them over through their heart and not their mind. A lot of this actually is to do with the game-changing question, which I mentioned earlier in my own blog post this week. Because basically what I'm doing is I'm saying that my heart went into my business before my mind did, and it was very, very successful because of that. So if you look at that as well in terms of selling services to your clients, if you can put their heart into it first before their mind, you will have more chance of securing that client. And at the end of the post, Derek Harpon says, what examples can you recall where people ignore the facts and focus on their feelings? And I thought that was a really, really great question. So in next week's blog post and in next week's episode, we're going to touch on the belief system more and thinking about what is a fact and what is a belief, because they are very, very different things, but very, very easily confused. So I hope this helps. Thanks so much for listening this week, and I always welcome your comments in the section below or on the blog, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this show. For more eTravel Weekly episodes, you can sign up for a free digital backpack at www.e-travelweekly.com, where I post the video, audio, and newsletter, plus all the links featured inside this week's show. You can also subscribe via YouTube at michelleonyoutube.me or via iTunes at michelleonitunes.me.